I made some cards and tags using the Make It and Bake It collection from Spellbinders and Tina Smith. Hey everyone, it's Joy here and welcome to my channel. Okay, this is just a little bit of a longer video, but we've got a lot of cards and tags, so definitely hang out for that. Okay, we're going to start with our first card, and I want to create my background. I'm using Twisted Citron on a piece of acetate. I ink smushed it, added a little bit of water, broke that up with my finger, and then placed it on a piece of white cardstock, and I'm just going to let that dry. I am using this green color as kind of a breakup color is what I'm going to call it. It's going to break up all the pinks and blues that we're using. So I'm going to bring in a little bit of that. Now I'm going to flip over my background because I actually want the debossed side for this, and I'm using the 3D embossing folder. It's the Confection Companions, and we have a little bit of that ink smushing that we did on that background. Then I smushed more of that Twisted Citron onto my glass mat that I have from scrapbook.com, added a little bit of water. I'm using a paintbrush, and I'm going to splatter some of that onto this background. And how cute is that? I love it. Okay, I have all of my die cuts done ahead of time because I do have a lot of projects to make. This is the Measured Mates die set from the Make It and Bake It collection. I'm using all of the dies, the 3D embossing folder, and the stamps. All of my cardstock that I'm using is from Spellbinders, and I will have everything listed and linked for you guys below in the description. And I'm keeping all of the cards, all of the same color theme. I am going to bring in some gold mirror cardstock, and my sentiments will be in black ink. And and some of my sentiments will be gold because they're die cut. But the stamped sentiments are going to be in black ink. How cute is this scale, you guys? So I'm using some teals, light and medium, a little bit of dark. Same with the pinks. And then I'm bringing in that kind of fun, limey, not perfectly limey, but kind of yellowy green. To me, it's a little bit limey, but I'm bringing that in as well. Again, that's kind of my little breakup color that just tends to stand out a little bit. And then we are going to be having some cookies. So here I've got some chocolate chip cookies. So I'm using a lighter tan and then a darker brown color. So I'm going to go over the colors really quick. I'm using Peridot, which is the green, truffle and fawn. So fawn is the light color for the cookie. Truffle is the chocolate chips. Then in order from light to dark for the pink is Blush, Tutu, Dahlia, and Wild Berry. And then from light to dark for the teals are Seaside, Waterfall, and Teal Topaz. And then I'm also using Alabaster on one of those cards. So those are all the colors I'm using of cardstock. Just that little bit of ink, and then we're going to be using some pops of color. And yeah, super simple. I love when I'm creating with a bunch of products and I want to make a ton of cards. It's the easiest thing to keep them all the same color, in the same, colorway that you're going to do it, because then you don't have to think for every single card other than what color do I want what. Okay, we've got our cookie jar together. We've got our scale together. We have our measuring spoons and one of the measuring cups. There's another spoon and two more measuring cups. I'm not using all on this card, but I'm going to add some foam adhesive, and we're just going to get these guys laid out. I kind of want everything at a little bit of a wonky angle so it feels a bit more fun. The sentiments are so super cute. And the sentiment that I'm using on this card says, "You count, not calories." And I just think, how cute is that? I do have to say, I love cooking and baking myself at home. And so to have fun dies that have stuff like this and stamps, I always love it. These are some of the cutest ones I've seen. I just love everything that they put together for this release. So, so cute. Okay, let's get our little pieces laid out here. And I did trim that background slightly smaller than an A2 size. And I'm going to adhere it to an A2 size, which measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece of Seaside cardstock. That's a really, really light teal cardstock. And that's going to give us a nice little mat around the edge. So let me just add my tape runner. And I'm going to do a little bit of liquid glue just in the corners because I really want the corners to stay down. And then we can adhere this down. Cute, cute. Oh my gosh, I love this. And then here is that sentiment. I'm going to stamp on white cardstock with black ink. And I'm going to trim this out with my paper trimmer. And then I can adhere this at the top of my card. So I made some A2 size cards, vertical and horizontal, or portrait and landscape. I did a mini slimline card. And I did 2 tags. So we have a lot of fun things, different things going on here. Okay, so for my slimline, I have a piece of cardstock, white cardstock. I just gave it a light mist with my spritzer, my distress spritzer, and I'm running that through the die cut machine with that 3D embossing folder. And this is smaller than a mini slimline. A mini slimline is 3 1/2 by 6 1/2. And this is just going to take up the left side of our card base, and I'll show you that in a minute. I cut a piece of, or trimmed a piece of that peridot cardstock, and I'm just going to line that on this outside edge here. I just want a little bit of color. It's so cute. I am using the Magic Mixer dies on this card and the whisk from the Fluff, Frost, and Roll die set. I have the sentiment here that I'm going to stamp kind of sideways on our card base, but let's get our bowls together. I thought it'd be really fun to stack some of these bowls, add a little bit of cake mix, and we're going to finish this card off at the end with some fun dots, and then I don't know, it just feels really kind of fun and playful. I think all of these cards feel fun and playful. But look at these cute mixing bowls. So again, I'm using some pinks and some teals, and I'm just layering these. Now, I will show you a bowl on another card where you can put your cake or your cookie dough in. The top bowl, I glued these bowls together. I just was putting them together. I wasn't even thinking. And I needed to put in this bowl here, I needed to put my cake mix in it before I glued the front and back together. It was not a big deal. It actually ended up working just fine. But on another card, you'll see how that can also look, because I feel like you can get away with both ways. So, and then here's that little bit of green. I'm going to add that green strip on my bowls here. Just a little bit of liquid glue. And then I used the alabaster cardstock for our cake mix. It's going to end up being like a little confetti cake. And then we have our whisk from the Fluff, Frost, and Roll. And then I added a little bit of waterfall cardstock at the base, and I die cut that from a gold mirror cardstock. So here I'm just tucking in the cake mix, which I think actually works. And then you have this fun drip that hangs over the edge. And then I'll bring your attention to the next bowl that I do, and I'll show you that. So here's my little piece here, and I want to have the bowls stacked in just a fun, haphazard way. I'm going to add 2mm foam adhesive behind this. I have my whisk tucked in, and then I can kind of add a little foam adhesive behind that piece as well. I think I did that. Nope, I haven't done that yet. Okay, I have my mini slimline card base. I lined up my card panel on the left-hand side just so I can line up my sentiment and stamp that. And it says, "Wishing you a great birthday." So cute and punny. I love it. And I'm just going to stamp that with black ink, but I'm making sure it was nice and straight on the grid of the lid of my Misty. And then we can adhere this to our card base here. And then I do add a piece of foam adhesive under the handle of the whisk. And then that card is done. I forgot to record this, you guys. So I took the embossing folder. I have an A2 size. I have 2 little pieces of cardstock that I trimmed. I ran that through the die cut machine with my embossing folder, and you can see that I left it open in the center of my card panel. I stamped my sentiment. I put my little rolling pins together. They're from the Fluff, Frost, and Roll, and then the little flowers, and they have gold mirror handles. And then I just popped up those little card panels top and bottom with some foam adhesive. And I'm so sorry, I totally forgot to record it, but super easy card to put together and really, really cute. Okay, so here is where I'm going to glue my cookie dough in properly. So I have the front of the bowl put together, and then I can adhere my dough inside and then the back of the bowl. So you'll see that it looks different. So, but again, I think both ways looks great. I don't think it really matters. Then we have cookie dough that drips, cookie dough that's going to be on the mixer. This card is from, let's see. This is the Fluff, Frost, and Roll. And the Magic Mixer, I think is what this one is. Let's see. Yep, the Magic Mixer die set, and isn't it cute? So my little mixers are gold mirror. I think the cord is darling. I don't know why it's so cute to me, but it really is. Then we have a spoon and a spatula. We have bigger chocolate chip cookies that go with this die set that I'm going to be putting together. But I just think these are so cute. Oh my goodness. Look at these ginormous chocolate chip cookies. They are so fun. So again, I used fawn and truffle cardstock for the cookie. And then we have our little spatula here. I forgot to add my green strip on my bowl, but no big deal. We have green other ways. Gold mirror behind that little spoon, and then our waterfall handle here. Super darling. And our little rubber spatula with the pink and green, and I think that pink might be the dahlia, and then the other pink is the tutu, I think. And then bringing in my twisted citron, splattering the background. That's all I want to do. Add a little bit of the green up at the top, and I'm going to use a strip here of that peridot cardstock. I think that's how you pronounce it. And I'm going to stamp the sentiment that says, "Nothing a little cookie dough can't cure." And I'm going to stamp that with black ink. And that's just going to kind of be our grounding point for some of our images here when we put this together. And again, this is going to be put together really playful and things just on an angle, and really almost feels a little haphazard, but really, really cute. So 1mm foam adhesive behind the back. And I'm going to place this at the bottom, and then we can start getting our images here and put together. So foam adhesive, of course, I'm using 2mm behind the hand mixer, the bowl. We have our cute little, really it's a wooden spoon, but it needed to be pink. It just needed to be pink because I didn't want it to be wooden with next to the cookie dough. It just fit with everything else that was going on. So let's get our mixer with our cookie dough on that. I just think what a cute little detail. Oh my gosh, you guys, these are just so fun. I just love these. Add a little bit of glue to our little cord, and then foam adhesive. I think I did 2mm at the top, 1 on the handle, and then I can place that on top of our cord. And then we've got these cookies that I'm going to lay around. I'm just kind of trying to figure out where I want them to go. And I'm going to place them down here and on that. And I think that is really cute. So just a little more foam adhesive. And whatever's hanging off the bottom, I'm going to trim off, and off that top left side, I'll trim that handle off. And then that is really cute. Once you have everything die cut, your color scheme figured out, where things are going to kind of go, the cards do go fast. Okay, so we are going to make a tag now, and I just think this is so cute. This is the Made with Love die set, and this would make a cute card too, but when I saw this, I'm like, we are making a tag because it is going to be perfect. So I'm layering the front part of my tag, and then I'm going to have layers for the back part of my tag as well. And I'm going to stamp something on the back, but we have our little die cut sentiment that says made with love. This is perfect for making some sort of treat for someone you know and adding this little tag to it. Like, are you kidding me? It's so cute. Look at the tie strings for the apron. The little pocket here, I'm going to have it popped up with a little bit of foam adhesive because I want to tuck some things in there. And then you have your neck piece for your apron. It's so cute. And then I thought I'm going to bring in that green with that bow. There is also oven mitts that we're going to play with. There's some flowers. There's a cute little cupcake that we're going to add. Just darling. Oh my gosh, I cannot get over how cute this whole collection is, and I just really love this little die set here. So our darling little oven mitts, a little bit more of that green. And then I'm going to glue these together and just have them where they look like they're hanging from the top. I'm just trying to figure out what top, but it's going to be on the right-hand side. We have our flower, our sentiment is going to be gold mirrored. And we have our cupcake. That dark pink is wild berry cardstock. So I wanted that to be like a little cherry without bringing in another color. So I just went with the darkest pink that I had. And then we have our made with love sentiment. And that is going to be adhered to the, I think this is blush cardstock. Yeah, the lightest pink is the blush. That flower is tutu. And then place those down, adding a little bit of liquid glue. And then we have a sentiment. And again, I'm going to stamp a sentiment on the back, but I'll show you how we put that back together. So I'm going to glue the oven mitt together like so. And then I'm going to have that little loop behind the bow on the neck piece and just glue that together there. And then add a little piece of foam adhesive on the oven mitt that's overlapping the apron. And then I have die cut that whole piece of the apron and the scallop piece one more time so I can create a back and hide all the ugly because we don't want that to be shown. We have a cute flower, our leaves. We're going to tuck that cupcake in that pocket, and I'm going to place that sentiment right here on an angle just because, again, it's just kind of fun and not everything needs to be straight. Okay, the front of that is done. I'm going to glue another one of the scalloped pieces onto the back. That's going to hide our little string pieces because you don't want to see that. And then, of course, I've die cut from white a whole other full background piece, but I want to stamp a sentiment on that first. And I thought it would be fun if it says, "You stir are fabulous," because this could be a birthday. This could just be whatever. And I think that sentiment is really cute. So let's place that in our MISTI and then use some black ink. I want to make sure that is centered. And then you can just write whatever you want on the back. I got that a few times to really make sure I have a nice, good, crisp black image. And then I can adhere that, and that's going to cover up the rest of the funkiness that we don't want to see. So a tape runner and a little bit of liquid glue just around the edges. I really want to make sure everything holds together. And then place that down. And how cute is this? It's so darling. Okay, guys, we got one more tag left, and then we're going to showcase all of the cards. This is the Cool It Cookie Rack die set, and then a little bit of the Fluff Frost and Roll, I think is the right one. Don't hold me to it. I have everything listed for you guys below. For the icing bag that I just was using, which is really cute. So we have our cookie rack here. Again, this is going to be a tag. I am using Waterfall and Teal Topaz for the cookie sheet along with Gold Mirror cardstock. And then I have a little bit of the Seaside. We have some of the darker pink, which is the Wild Berry, that we're going to use for some of these cookies. These are fun shaped cookies, along with fawn cardstock, the peridot, and the blush cardstock, I believe is what we're using on here. So I have the front piece. I've die cut that solid big tray piece with the handles from white cardstock as well, because that's going to be our back. This says enjoy. This is the little die cut sentiment in this die. Here's our cute little cookies, and I love that the centers have little dots embossed in it from the die cutting. That just adds some fun detail. And then we're going to put this flower together. Just got a little pink flower, a green center, and some green leaves. And we're going to stamp the sentiment onto the back, of course. And it says, wishing you a great birthday, because I think this is really fun. You could bring a little treat and your present and just attach that to that. So let me get this lined up. I'm going to stamp that right in the center, making sure everything is straight in my MISTI using the grid on the lid. And then let's glue this to that back. Now I want to punch a hole in this, so I'm going to be using my Crop-A-Dile for that. Now I have that nice and adhered. So before I put everything together, I want to take my Crop-A-Dile. I'm using the second largest or second smallest hole, and I don't remember what that is right now. And I just was able to punch that through, and then now we can start laying everything out. So we have the cute frosting bag. We've got some gold little mixers, our cookies. I'm going to pop things up with foam adhesive because it just gives it more life. And on a tag, you can have as much foam adhesive as you'd like, right? Because this is not getting mailed necessarily unless it's in a box, right? So that's how I'm going to do that. I'm going to place the little beaters at the top, the little mixing whisks or little beaters, onto the icing bag. We have our flower down here. Tuck those leaves in, and I'm just going to use some teal and white baking twine. And that will be what I'm going to use for the hanging part for my tag. Let's place those guys there. Oh my gosh, it is so cute. I think I ran to go get the little twine. So I'm going to place that through the hole. And then I can tie a little knot at the top and then just trim the excess off. And now we have this really cute tag. Okay, let's take a look at our card. Oh, first, sorry. Let's add our confetti. So I'm using pops of color. This was on our little cake mix. I am using Flamingo, Sky Blue, and Key Lime. And I'm going to tap those down just a little bit. Here's that Sky Blue. And when I tap them, it just makes them a little more circled. And if there's a little point at the top, usually it flattens it nicely. Yep, I like that green. I was making sure before I put it on there that it was a good green that kind of matched the ink and our little strips on our bowl. That is a finished off card. Okay, here's that first card we made. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. I love this mini slimline with the stacked bowls. Lovely. This card that I forgot to show you how to make it, but really super easy with the rolling pins in different colors and that 3D embossing folder on the back. We have our cookie dough here with our mixer and our bowl. I think it's just such a fun, cute card. And then we have our little apron tag here. You can hang it from the top. Oh my gosh, I love it. And our sentiment on the back. And then we have our cookie tray, our little cookie sheet, cookie rack card here. And I love it. They all turned out so fun. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed all of these projects. I hope you feel inspired. If you like what you've seen, please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, and I'll be back soon with another video. Bye.